you ready for this?
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostborn. Hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Needs a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 74th episode of the Nexus Trolls, a podcast all about Heroes of the Storm, part of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Daz, and I'm joined, as always, by LiQuiud. I don't even know if I can say that anymore. LiQuiud, I tell this all the time.
That question in your voice.
It was because you were missing last week. We miss you so much, but I'm glad to have you back on again. And we're going to be making this a regular, guys. Don't worry, LiQuid's going to be on regularly. So going forward, it's going to be LiQuiud, Mystic, but Mystic's not actually here tonight, too. That's another little side point as well. Mystic has a conflict on Wednesdays that just cropped up. So we're going to start recording on Thursdays for the first time ever. We've had Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern since we started the show, since episode 0. But next week, we're actually going to be switching to Thursdays. So just a little bit of a programming note. If you're listening to this, not live, it's not as big of an issue. It'll show up in your podcatchers a day later than usual. But that's why Mystic's not here, and we will be scheduling this around his schedule to make sure that we can have him going forward because he's such an integral part of the show. But taking his place today, we've got a very, very special guest with us, Royalite. Royalite, welcome to the show.
Hi, good to be here.
And we're so glad. LiQuiud tapped me on the show. He's like, "We got to get Royalite on." I was like, "Done. I'll give her a quick message on Twitter." You got back super fast. You're amazing to talk to, amazing to chatter with on Twitter. Yeah, I know.
I'm always on Twitter.
Turns out. You kind of live there. It seems. I mean, you've been in the hero scene since pretty much the beginning, from what I can tell. You've had your hands in a lot of pies along the way. You've been a part of many different community projects and such. So what have you been up to? What are you up to now? Like, what are you doing in the hero scene in general?
Actually, more of taking a break. I love heroes and I love the community. But for a while there, for about a good 2 years, it was just a lot of work, a lot of no free time. It was definitely a big passion of, love, and I absolutely enjoyed it. But when I stopped and took a break, it was like, okay, I can be in recovery mode now. I can have like my dinners to myself and my family, So it's definitely been, I'm staying on top of the community and Twitter and having a good time interacting with everyone, but definitely taking some me time. But I don't know how long that will last because I am getting the bug again. I don't know if you guys know Open Raid from World of Warcraft. I started out at the beginning of that project, and it was a phenomenal ride I think we had over 500,000 users on the site, and it was just wonderful. And I love being a part of these big projects and doing like big things. So I hope to jump into something soon, but
Wait, hold on, because you just so you helped create Open Raid?
I was there in like the very, very beginning. Bart was in chat and he was like, "Who wants to be on staff?" And I said, "I do." And so,
That's awesome.
I was one of the people on the ground helping put that all together. So
I had no idea.
that was a phenomenal experience.
Because towards the end of when we were fighting Garrosh, I think we started using that to fill our raids. But we had used it before then, but like more regularly, we were using it during those raids. So no, I'm really familiar with that tool. I had no idea. That's awesome. Yet another reason.
So
I'm sorry, another reason?
Another reason to enjoy all of the things you've worked on.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Too kind.
And if there's a great place to come and relax and rewind as you're taking a break from heroes, the Nexus Trolls is a great place to do that.
Yes, I like keeping up with you guys.
So what else have you been doing as well? Like, I mean, I know that you've done some work with Heroes Hype as well. Do you want to talk about a little bit like your history leading up to this hiatus that you're currently taking that sounds like it might not last too long?
Yeah, I basically saw an ad on Reddit that was from Battlefy that said, we want tournament organizers for Heroes of the Storm. And I jumped all over that because I had taken my break from Open Raid and I wanted to get into something new and start a new project. And basically talked to the Battlefy guys, and they were like, we're going to meet you up with some other I had 3 guys, it was 3 of us, and we started doing Heroes tournaments and just trying to navigate the way of trying to get people to come to your tournament, find ways to fund the tournament. And it was just a phenomenal adventure. I met so many great people. One of the biggest achievements that I still can't believe is we had Heroes United, which was our partner org of all the tournament orgs that were doing Heroes together, on the BlizzCon stage, and Dustin Browder, pointing us out. And that was just like nerdgasm, just the highlight of my nerdy career was, I just can't explain how just the culmination of all our work coming together. So it's just been a fun ride and meeting some really phenomenal people along the way.
And it's a great community we're in too. Ever since we started this, myself and LiQuiud have met a ton of fantastic people. Everyone is just as friendly as the last person you've met. And it's amazing how many people are so driven in the community to create these community projects. I mean, LiQuiud's one of them. Royalite, you're obviously one of them as well. Like, there's so many people that want to contribute to the community, and it's great to see that we've got that in a place like Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, I can't imagine a more inclusive community. It's just so diverse. It's not just an all-guy club. I mean, in Heroes Hype, when I was with him, it was like half female, half male. And it was wonderful to see that kind of inclusion. It's not, oh, you can't be a part of this. It's just very, very open, and it's nice to be a part of that.
So one thing I guess we talked about a bit off camera before we started is that you feel like you've got a lot of knowledge to impart on people who might be deciding to take on these kind of projects in the community. You've got a lot of experience in many facets of the game, not only Heroes of the Storm, but it sounds like before, like I'm not a WoW player, but it sounds like Open Raid, like LiQuiud. I think he was geeking out a little bit when you said you were a part of that.
A little bit.
So, like, do you have any advice for anyone who's looking to get into either be it content creation, starting orgs, running tournaments, anything like that in the community?
Well, I wanted to maybe talk a little bit more specifically on starting your own tournaments. I do think that that experience that I went through, I had a lot of stumbling blocks, and I think there are a lot of tools out there that people might not be aware of if they want to jump into this. I found it like really exciting being a part of Heroes at the start because the rule set wasn't completed, and it was really part of the fun was trying to sort out a big question was, how do you do maps and drafting, and how do you use the tools that we had, which we weren't able to like program our own site. We had to use a site like Battlefy, and there's also sites like Tournament. There's a lot of really great sites with a lot of tools, but what you end up realize is that these sites are a one-size-fit-all, and that might not translate very well to your game that you're trying to run a tournament for. So then you have to get creative with the rules. And I was talking a little bit about the map drafting before. ESL, when they first started the rules for Heroes of the Storm, they had assigned the maps, and we were an amateur tournament dealing with a huge range of skill sets, and so we wanted to give the losing team kind of an edge over the winning team in a best of 3. And one of the ways we came up with that, talking to the teams, was, okay, after you lose the game, you get to pick first pick or the map. So what it kind of gave this huge sort of strategy, not only to just, first picking and hero drafting, but also bringing in map drafting. And I realize that's kind of difficult to do in some of these games at the beginning It's not something you can always see. Sometimes it's easy to just take the route of, I'm going to assign the map to everyone. But so the other thing I wanted to just kind of mention as well is the whole crowdfunding. Where do you get your money? That was always kind of a big concern for us. We initially were sponsored by Battlefy, which was great, but when the money dries up and Heroes isn't producing the interest that the sponsors want, what do you do? Where do you go to? And we had phenomenal success crowdfunding. We actually crowdfunded on Matcherino. Maybe your listeners have heard of that. We did, coaching sessions with Dreadnought. We had shout outs from LiQuiuD. I mean, the Heroes community is so great in supporting amateur tournaments, and I'm sure other games as well, but like that whole networking aspect. So, I just wanted to let people know if they're interested in starting tournaments, that there's resources out there to do it, and it's not that scary. You just got to be driven and want to do it.
Not that scary.
No, I must admit I was kind of scared at the beginning, because I'm like, how are the three of us that were in starting this together, like how are we going to do this? And it was just determination of, what, we're going to make it work. One of the things was, how do we get people into our tournament? Well, we started our tournament halfway through the ESL League. And then after teams were knocked out, well, they're all there. They're all at their computers. So we would contact them and we'd be like, hey, you just lost the game. We know you're free for the night, so come into our tournament. It's that kind of creativity of, we got to like push the boundaries, think outside the box, and, get people to, join our tournament and have a great experience. And reflecting back on it, I hope that it was a really positive experience for the community. I mean, I had a great time doing it, so I hope that, that it meant something.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. There's still people that talk about some of those tournaments to this day. So I can't imagine that it didn't connect with some people.
And I've always been like pleasantly impressed with how well crowdfunding can work too. I remember when I first heard of, the more popular crowdfunding sources a lot of people would hear about, like a Kickstarter, for instance. And I remember first I was like, are people actually going to like willingly donate money to these causes or whatever? And the answer to that question is yes. There's actually quite a few people out there that are willing to donate money towards a good cause or towards a project that they have faith in or like to see flourish. I mean, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/trollsgg for those that just a little plug there.
Little plug. He skipped it anyway.
Well, I'll get into that in a bit. We're having such a good conversation. I didn't want to interrupt the flow with plugs. Of course, I just did that.
You can't.
But then I do it anyways, apparently. But either way, Patreon is another great source of crowdfunding as well, and is the reason that a lot of podcasters can make like almost careers out of this too. I mean, if you look at not us, because we do this like in our free time, but there are others that like the amove.tv network, for instance, like Garrett Weinzierl and Kyle Ferguson, they've made a career out of this. And one of the big reasons it's possible is because of crowdfunding through something like patreon.com and how welcoming the community is of that kind of thing.
And there is a lot of passion in this community. I mean, I can tell you that there were a couple of people who were big supporters of the tournaments and would donate a lot of money, and we were forever grateful to that, because that just further helped the tournament grow, the amateur scene grow, and Heroes grow. Like, we wanted to be that solid foundation of, okay, when a team got good enough to go to the pro scene, that they built the skills here in our tournaments. And a lot of casters went through the amateur scene in Heroes Hype. I mean, we had Dreadnought. We had he was practicing, but we put him out there. Jay Howell, he actually came to us at the very beginning and said, "Look, no one will give me a chance. No one's getting back to me." And we watched his video, and we were like, oh my God, this guy's voice
Yeah.
and his game knowledge. Like, he just blew everyone that we were looking at away. And we were like, yes, come on. And so, we have Jay Hal from, the very beginning. So yeah, that was just the whole point of what we were doing. Was we couldn't pay anyone, unfortunately. We're all doing this out of our free time, but what we were hoping is that we could bring everyone to the next level, that we could get you the job in esport that you wanted. And there has actually been a couple of people who've gone through Heroes Hype and gotten jobs in esports, and a lot of teams that have gone through a lot of these amateur tournaments in Heroes Hype and gone, pro. So yeah, I hope that even though I'm not involved anymore, that tradition really continues.
I'm sure it will, and there's no better place to build a resume than through the amateur scene. That's for certain. Like, anyone that you see that's a professional caster now, they started somewhere. They didn't just jump right in to HGC as a caster. They started somewhere. I mean, like Haloran.
Haloran, exactly.
Another great example. Casting Heroes of the Dorm right now. He went
Invernum.
up Yep.
Invernum as well.
Cavalier guest. I think you can say that he ended up getting his coaching job probably because of, like building up through the amateur scene, creating content, casting through Chair League and everything as well too. So it's impressive how you can make that climb, and talent does get recognized if you're willing to put in the time and get yourself out there. So we encourage anyone to.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what you just said, that time and consistency. Because there are a lot of people, podcasts, a lot of things that you start out doing once or twice, and then you realize you don't enjoy it and you stop, or it's too much work. Well, there's other people out there that have the passion, who will do it consistently, and who do get recognized for that.
Yeah.
74 episodes later, here we are.
Exactly. You guys can't stop talking, right?
I know. This gives us a great outlet for that. I'm gonna, because I know what's gonna happen, and we talked to Royalite before this. We're like, okay, I'm a talker, LiQuiud's a talker, and Royalite's a talker. You put all three of us on, this show is gonna be 4 hours long.
I know.
So we're like,
it would be awful. I'm sorry, guys.
So I hate to cut you off. No, it's a great. We haven't even started the show yet. That's how great this is. And we're already at almost the 20-minute mark.
This is the preamble.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Go
I'm having such a good time.
And that's the mark of a great show and a great guest too. But before we quote unquote get into the show, because I guess technically we haven't, I do want to thank all our patron supporters over at patreon.com/trollsgg. If you're looking for a way to support the show, you can definitely do so over there. We've reached a new stretch goal recently where we're going to be doing after show games after each show. So come and join us for those. You can just /join_trollsgg in-game to join our in-game chat channel, and we'll put a shout out for anyone who wants to join the after show games in there. We also have a troll of the week this week, Stixa. Stixa is one of those up-and-coming casters. At least I think he's a great talent in the scene. He cast Creators of the Storm for us about a month ago with Bahamut, and he actually cast our little beer league, Bush League, which we started up this week as well, which we're going to be talking about a little bit in the news segment. So Stixa, he's a great fan of the show too. And I actually saw, the first time I ever met Stixa, he was casting our Cheer League game. I think it was one of his first casts ever, and I was like, this guy is good. He's going places. So Stixa, thanks again for being a friend of the show, and you are officially our troll of the week. So with that being said, let's jump right into the news.
Someday, this will make a great story.
Speaking of Bush League, we've ended up getting this kind of like little micro community happening over what was supposed to be just kind of like pickup games on Mondays. We've talked about it a little bit over the past few weeks, but if you haven't heard, we've started up a bit of a beer league called Bush League, along with the guys over at Gank Bush Squad and Nexus Commentaries. We have it where we've got show hosts mingling with listeners, and we play in a small little mini league where we've got 4 teams, and we just play on a weekly basis. We had last week's cast by Stixa. Next week is cast by Goon, who's another great caster as well. Check his stuff out, Goon Hots. He was on the show last week as our guest, actually. And it's strange. Like, we started this, and like I said, like, a little community is growing around. We've got Schizophrenic, who is writing articles weekly about the league and analyzing the games and like what to look forward to week to week. Goon is actually doing some game analysis on Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific of Game 1, the game that myself and LiQuiud made a total fools of ourselves
Oh my God,
with our
dude.
horrible Jaina and Garrosh play. So if you want to see
It was not
Goon,
good.
a master level player, pick that apart, you can see that at 6 p.m. Pacific on Sunday at twitch.tv/GoonHots. And
Please be nice, Goon. I know I
Yes.
played bad at Garage. Please be nice.
I told him to be nice about my Jaina play, and he said I've taken notes. I was like, that wasn't a yes, but hey, it'll be interesting to see what he has to say about it. And actually, Fringe over the Gankbush squad went ahead and made some T-shirts to promote the league as well. You can check out the link for that's in the show notes. I will be putting up on our website, trolls.gg/bush-league shortly. But all the proceeds from that are going to go to charity. I'm not sure if just put this together today. I'm not sure which charity selected for that. But it's just something that he thought would be fun to put together. So we've got a Teespring campaign up for that as well. So Bush League, the signups are closed, but if you're interested, we're probably going to do a second season in a few months, starting up again. So there's a sign up there for next season even. It's definitely a fun tournament. Come check it out. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's casted by different casters, so it'll be on their channel. But you can check all that out at trolls.gg/bush-league. All the information's there. Some other news though. And you know what? It's great because for the news, what I did is I went to Royalite's Twitter channel and I was like, okay, what's she been?
No, that's. All right. So wait, I want to before you even say that, because I know where you're going. I have to be honest. I had been taught, like I mentioned a long time ago that we should have you on the show, and then I totally forgot about it. And then the Carbot sprays were announced, and what usually happens when new content comes out is my Twitter is literally just full of all of Royalite's tweets. I was like, oh God, I immediately told Daz, like as soon as I saw the tweets, it like jogged my memory, and here we are. So anyway, okay, Daz, go ahead.
I don't even. Oh, I know what I was talking about. So yeah, I was like, okay, well, let's see if there's any news. I started like scouring through Reddit and everything. And I was like, I checked out Royalite's Twitter feed. And I was like, oh, there's Amazon Prime loot stuff that we should probably mention on the show. So Royalite to the rescue on our Twitter feed. By the way, everybody, I know we haven't plugged it yet, but if you want to get like consistent news about the game and very entertaining tweets, definitely follow at Royalite, ROYALITE on Twitter. She happens to be the guest on the show today as well. But anyways, Amazon Prime. If you are subscribed to Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, same thing, you can actually go and collect a free legendary loot chest. There's a page for it, links in the show notes. You can click on that, and you can claim your loot chest as long as you do it before May 1st. And then in the weeks to come, Blizzard's also going to be releasing more loot for Twitch Prime subscribers. They've got a glitch steed mount and 10 rare loot chests that they're going to be releasing over the course of months. So cool little partnership bet to get some additional loot in game. I think that's pretty cool. LiQuiud, have you gotten your... I know you're a Twitch Prime subscriber. Have you gotten your legendary chest yet?
I've gotten it, but I haven't opened it yet.
Ooh.
I haven't had time to actually play the game.
Do that?
I know.
As soon as I got mine, I was like, I have to open the shiny.
What'd you get from the shiny?
I wanted to.
LiQuid, you haven't opened
what
yours yet.
did
I don't
you
want
get?
to talk to you. Royalite, what'd you get from your shiny?
I didn't get anything good because, okay, I got a really good roll, and I was like, nah, I think I could do better. And
Oh,
then I hit roll
no.
again, and I just got all shards, and I was like, why did I do that?
Ooh, what was the first one that
So,
you re-rolled on?
I think it was a legendary Arthas skin.
Ooh.
Is it the one that you tweeted that you ended up settling with the toxic Archangel Diablo?
I think
Or
so,
did you-
yeah.
Okay,
I-
yeah.
but I wasn't thrilled about that one. I was like, oh. But oh well. Next, I'm really excited about next month getting the mount. I really think that mount looks so cool. It's purple and white, and I'm more. Then I get more chests to reroll, so I get more stuff then.
A
But
mount and 5 chests, you can't go wrong with that.
I
That's
know,
pretty
exactly. I
amazing.
do want to share a little secret, though, on how I stay on top of everything Heroes. They actually have an RSS feed, and it's not announced. And
What?
yeah, if you're clever enough, you can figure it out if you know how Blizzard does their RSS feeds. So that's how I stay on top of it. And then I even cheat. I have a watch, a little Fitbit watch that does alerts, and so like while I'm working, my watch goes off, and then I'm like, oh, time to tweet the hero news. So
What?
yeah, that's how I stay on top of everything, and
You just
tweet things out as quickly as I do.
you just broke all your secrets.
I know,
What
but
are you
that's
doing?
okay because I want more people putting out more content and
Right.
talking more about this. So if
What-
that means sharing my secrets, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Well, I know I'm
And
gonna
you
be.
still have to find the RSS feed.
Yeah, I'm giving a big clue. So if you're, like I said, if you're clever to figure out how Blizzard does their RS feeds, and they're public, so then you'll set up a RSS feed alert, and you'll get it as soon as they post it.
I know what I'm going to be adding to my Feedly reader. As soon
I'm
as I-
already yes. Yep.
Trying to figure it out.
Mhm. I should not do that right now, though.
Yeah.
Just in the
We
middle of the
gotta
show.
do
why
the
not?
show first, and then what's gonna happen is you guys are gonna forget about this by the end of the show. So
That's the problem. That's why I was trying to
Yes.
figure it out.
you're still gonna have to follow me to stay on top of things.
Done. So that's it for the news. So we're going to roll into our main segment, and we've decided to stick with this format, this kind of pardon the interruption style, where we've got a list of topics, and we've got 5 minutes to talk about each specific topic. And on the docket tonight, the 8 topics are Heroes of the Dorm, the Abathur support meta, PAX East Speculation, Fenix needs a tune-up, Brightwing's BFF,
Ooh,
spoiler
tune
alert, that's
down.
probably Royalite, Poor Old Valla, April Fools, and Has Hots peaked as a game? So, everybody, it's time to start trolling the Nexus, and we're going to start by talking about Heroes of the Dorm. So, Heroes of the Dorm is in its round of 32, and
It's going now. Just started. Like,
I was about to.
oh no, 5 minutes. I think it's right at the top of the hour.
So I'll just pass the ball right along to LiQuiud. You want to tell us a little bit about what's going on in Heroes of the Dorm these days?
Yeah. So, excuse me. We're in the round of 32. Viewership is way up since they moved off Facebook. Thank
Oh
God.
my God. Yeah, like the 50 people that were watching Facebook,
Right.
huh?
That was so bad. So Heroes of the Dorm, they're in the round of 32. It starts tonight. I think it starts at the top of the hour, if I remember correctly. Yes, 5 minutes. But unfortunately, they said in 5 minutes, 12 minutes ago. So maybe the pre-show started already. But it's running now. Yep, top of the hour.
But don't run away to watch it yet. They will have
no,
fun.
no,
You
stick
can stick
here.
around here for a little bit longer, so we got some good
Finish
stuff. to
this.
talk about.
Finish this. And then at the end, well, no, and then at the end of this, what you need to do is watch the Open Division NA finish, and then go over to Heroes of the Dorm. But really, the problem is you need multi-Twitch running, is what people need to be doing. But Heroes of the Dorm this year is so much better. It's on Twitch. Like, that was my biggest complaint last year. The round of 32 is about to start. And again, we have Gilly and Halorian casting tonight. So that could be amazing and worth checking out. But
Phenomenal casters, by the way.
absolutely,
biased.
I actually no, I love watching that pair together. It's amazing. And we had Gilly on the Troll and HCC right before NA started, so we could preview NA before HCC started. So, and that was a lot of fun sitting down and talking with her as well. But I'm totally getting distracted by the fact that we have a group. So if you've done your bracket and you want to join the Trolls GG group, trolls.gg/HOTD will join you into that group. You can see how you're doing against some of our Bags and I don't always pick the best. Here's the Dorm group.
So Royalite, are you
So-
still in the running for $1 million? Did you put in your bracket picks when this all started?
Oh my gosh. So, can I just say that this was a lot more fun when you needed to do the research on your own? Because, like, the first couple of Hero of the Dorms, I actually did well. I was in the top 100 and I got them out and I got all the prizes. But ever since they've been saying, like, the team stats on the website, it's
Right.
been so much harder. So, I'm, like, probably at the bottom. Because I'm like, oh, I got to pick an upset somewhere, and I'm always picking bad upsets. So, like Fullerton, yeah, that messed up my bracket pretty good.
I made a silly mistake. I have a lot of employees and friends that work in Toronto. So I picked Toronto over ASU, even though probably didn't need to do that, but I did. That cost me. There were a couple of games where I'm like, I'm gonna go with somebody I know here instead of sticking to the stats, and those are all the ones that I got wrong.
Oh.
So, well, I didn't do bad though. I only got 3 wrong in the round of 64. I'll take that. That's an improvement for me from last year.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
That's really impressive. I pretty much go with my heart. I don't even research. I just like
you don't click the little.
I know.
The little eye, man.
I mean, some things are giveaway, like the 80% win rate against the 26% win rate. It's like, gee,
Right.
who are you going to choose?
So
Right.
I'm testing a theory because I don't know if this is a thing in the States or not, but up in Canada, we had, when we were doing like playoff predictions for the NHL, the one of the popular sports shows had brought a monkey in, and the monkey would spin a wheel, and that's how they pick their playoff predictions. And the monkey actually in the first year outperformed all the analysts. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just be the monkey this time, and I'll pick everything that I think looks nice and shiny and see how it does. And a little spoiler alert, it's not doing well. I did also pick all the Canadian teams too. So
See, I think that works well when, things are kind of more on an even playing field.
Right.
And the problem is in Heroes of the Dorm, the skill range is just, the gap is huge. And so, especially in the beginning rounds, there's just teams that are going to easily cream the other team. But yeah, I think that's why you're experiencing that.
yes. And
Well, like the other thing, like I picked teams. I managed an open division team until they broke up, but we scrimmed a couple of dorm teams, and so like I almost always picked them because I knew how they played, and so it was easy to say, okay, I think they can beat this team. They should beat this team, right? And I ended up picking them more than I should have, I think.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the people who are going to win this bracket are the people who are scrimming and playing each other.
Yeah, I would agree.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll be talking about Heroes of the Dorm in the weeks to come leading up to the finals. Next topic on the list is the new Abathur support meta. You know what? I'm just going to pass this straight on to Royalite just so she can give us a little bit of background, because we've seen some Abathur solo supports in the past week. What's been going on there, Royalite?
Well, I think the general consensus was that it's cheese. It's nice, ooey gooey, melt in your mouth cheese. I mean, I went back and watched the game with Method versus Zealots on Sky Temple. I mean, there was just no team fight. It was just don't engage and push the lanes. Somoro being able to play safe, and oh shoot, what's his alt where he can jump around to his
mirror images? I think it's
mirror images. Yes. I mean, pretty much the guy can play safe. And so, when I first heard of this happening, and I was like, oh, it's just healers are so weak. They nerfed us so hard. We have such poor wave clear. Like, we're just being pushed out of the meta. And I think there's kind of been that sentiment going on in Reddit, like support apocalypse, that's such a mouthful. But after watching it, it was like, okay, it was just, they wanted to cheese. What do you guys think?
I'm torn because I kind of think there's a lot of cheese there.
The thing I think is interesting here is we didn't just see it once. We also saw Heroes Hearth pull it out on Braxis unsuccessfully, I might add, against Team 12 too. So a different map, different region, and they still had the same kind of idea. So I mean, there's got to be something to it. I know what you mean though. Like, you can't like realistically team fight because Abathur can't protect.
It's not a heal, right?
Yeah,
it's not a real healer.
It's a tiny shield with a little bit of extra heal over time, which is good to top off your heroes when they're out of an engagement. But in an engagement, realistically, it's not going to contribute very much.
It's perfect for PvE, right? If you're going to macro the whole game and you're just going to push lanes, it works fine. But as soon as you want to do something other than that, you lose. And that's Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and you have to end the game early. You
Yes.
can't go late game. You're gonna get in trouble if you go late game.
Well, that's what happened with the team in Team 12 beating Heroes Hearth. They team fought and they just constantly pushed them and didn't let them do. Okay, yeah, we're gonna let you just push the lanes here and not team fight with you. Like that's not what happened. So
The thing I thought was really interesting is the Heroes Hearth game against Team 12 was on Braxis, which to me is kind of counterintuitive for this kind of strategy. I mean, I'm not an esports savant or anything, but you think like on a 2-lane map where you've got an objective that is pretty powerful, push objective, where there's a lot of team fighting
Right.
around a point, you think that's where this kind of idea wouldn't work as well. But they brought it out, and again, they didn't succeed, but they thought that it would be a good idea here. They did have a Rexar, so maybe their idea is if we can just hold the 1 point successfully, we can kind of stall that out. I don't know, but it does bring an interesting kind of perspective on the game. I think we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago where you don't necessarily need kills in this game. It's the nice fun thing to do to go into those team fights and get the kills and like seek out the team fights. But realistically, if you can just run the other team around the map and you can win that way, you don't have to get a single kill. There's nothing that says you have to kill people to win the game. You can win a game without a single kill.
Yeah, and I think that's why they were trying it out on Braxis. I know it's kind of counterintuitive, it being a 2-lane map and not 3. But I think the reason being is that, okay, they want a team fight bot, we're just going to go rotate and pick top. Like you have 2 objectives and you can kind of do a split team fight between them. I must admit I didn't see the game, but that was kind of my thinking with this whole Abby support meta is you want to pick them off 2 or 3 or 1 at a time, right?
Right.
And that's how, and then you don't want to get into a full 5-on-5 fight. So when you
Right.
have 2 points that you're fighting over, top and bot, I think that's maybe why they were trying that strat there. But I think you're right in that it works a lot better on a 3-lane map when you have the area to do that in, and instead of this 2-lane map. I hate Abby on a 2-lane map.
Yeah.
it doesn't work on a 2-lane map. Sky Temple is where Dig ran it against Leftovers and it worked for them there. But again, Sky
Yeah.
Temple, right? Just
Exactly.
take the temple and you win that game.
I guess another map to try on would be something like a Dragonshire potentially too, similar to the Braxis in that you've got the 2 points north and south that you can kind of split on as well. If you're talking about Royalite strategy where you're trying to pick those like off number engages if you do need to pick a pick.
That one's a little harder though, only because you have to it forces a team fight at some point, right? You sit and you wait.
If you want to defend mid,
right? You have to do something at that point. I could see it might work because you do have the north and south, but I feel like there's always going to be a team fight on Dragonshire, and that's where that comp loses.
because I guess even if you win the dragon, you're going to be in a team fight.
Right. Okay, you won the dragon. Come get it. Right. Like.
It just seems so strange to me that you can get through a game without like trying to avoid team fights actively. And I guess
Well, isn't that what cheese is?
I guess
like
so.
what's that?
Yeah.
Infernal Shrines. You can, get Sylvanas and
Yep.
Morales and Rhaegar and Tyrael, and then just zoom to the core and end the game in less than 5 minutes? Not
Right.
even. So
Yeah.
that's cheese for you.
we'll see plenty of cheese strategies. I'm sure this probably won't be the last one. The only question remaining is it a valid cheese strategy or just stinky cheese? I guess we'll have to see in the next weeks to come to see if that pulls up again. You like that little
I did.
bit there, Liquid? That was for you, bud.
I did.
Okay, next on the list, we've got PAX East Speculation. So PAX East starts tomorrow. This is almost like the off-season BlizzCon in a lot of ways. Blizzard has a pretty big presence there. They have previously announced a lot of things at PAX East as well, and that trend seems like it's going to continue. Blizzard has come out and said, okay, we've got a Heroes panel. We're doing a hero reveal. That's happening tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the way, if you have heard the timing on this before, it may be wrong. It's actually 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Blizzard did come out with a correction on that just about 4 or 5 hours ago, so make sure you note the time there. You can catch the stream at twitch.tv/PAX2, PAX2. So Go ahead, LiQuiud.
There are a lot of Blizzard employees at PAX East. A lot of Heroes of the Storm Blizzard employees at PAX East.
Yeah, and that even lends more to the fact that we've probably got something big here, and they're hyping it quite a bit. They in the blog post they said some interesting little nuggets, like just to tease people with. Like they said that it's going to be an unlikely new hero, and they're going to be talking about bringing Heroes lore into the Blizzard universe and tying that together.
So I have a theory. Tinfoil hat time. The reason it's an unlikely hero is because it's not related to any universe they have, and it will be the first Nexus hero, and that's why we're going to get both a new hero and a shot of lore at the same time.
Okay, I disagree completely.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because against the whole reason they try and attract people in. I mean,
I agree.
Like Fenix or Phoenix.
Phoenix.
I'm not saying it's Phoenix. Thank you. Like
Yep.
he was so anticipated, and I had people who were like, "I haven't played in a long time, but this hero is bringing me back." And I think if they come up with a new hero, it's not going to have that same pull.
So who do you think it is, Royalite?
Well, I'm all about Deckard Cain. I think it would be really weird to have him because he's like this old guy and he's all like sit and stay a while, and you know, I don't know, he's gonna put people to sleep from his storytelling. I have no idea, but that's my guess.
And that fits the bill of being unlikely because I mean it's a hero that we expect to come at some point probably, but you've got the old man storyteller, like that's not the likely kind of go in throwing spells around shooting everyone with guns kind of hero that you'd expect. So you'd say that they'd be unlikely, and that's got a great tie into the lore aspect as well, because Deckard Cain from Diablo is a known storyteller, like historian type, right?
Okay, hold on, because I gotta throw this out because I know you guys think I'm crazy, but there's reasoning behind this.
No, we know you're
right?
crazy.
Okay.
So here's they're very specific in the panel details and in the tweet where they said be the first to learn how the lore of Heroes of the Storm will add to the larger Blizzard universe. That tells me that this is coming from the Nexus. It's not something that's going into the Nexus, but the Nexus going out.
Okay, I have a tinfoil hat moment then. The brawls, the PvE brawls, are incredibly popular.
Yes.
Like when I put out that news, I had a lot of people. So because I came from Open Raid, I have a lot of WoW people
Right.
who follow me, and you know they want to know the mounts and all that good stuff that's coming because they want to know when to jump over and grab it. And that's one of the things that they watch my feed for, is they want to know when the PvE brawls are coming. And I get a lot of people like, oh my god, it's back, great, I love that part. I don't like PvP. I just want to play a campaign mode or something. And if you guys are saying that there's a lot of Blizzard Heroes people over there, and there's this hype for something more than just your hero that comes out every couple of weeks, what if it's PvE brawls or co-op or something?
Co-op would be awesome.
Yeah.
Co-op would be really cool. I could get behind that.
It's built on the StarCraft engine. It's not like they couldn't technically do
Right.
it, right? We've had the
Right.
PvE brawls on StarCraft maps, like not to say that they couldn't skin it for like, you know, different universe maps and everything too, and get that story mode in there. I think we talked about it last week, the week before too. Like this would be a great opportunity to like beef up the tutorial too. That could be like a gateway into getting into the PvP by having some sort of
Yes.
PvE campaign mode. And Blizzard's great at telling stories, so it'd be amazing to see how they tie in like a storyline with all these different heroes in the Nexus. And I think that's exactly, I don't think it's a tinfoil hat, Royalite. I think this is a genuine great idea. LiQuiud, no, your ideas are horrible. Royalite.
Oh my God, that's what's breaking me right now. I'm like, wait a minute, what? It is a great idea, but I'm just like, wait. All right.
I think that's the way they're going. I think it's a great theory, Royalite, and I think that's what might be happening here.
I can't wait until the tweets come out tomorrow from Royalite, and I'm gonna point at one and be like, "I told
no
you
pressure
so."
here, right?
Well, we'll see who gets the last laugh on Twitter there tomorrow, LiQuiud.
I'll be tweeting if I was right.
Should we like do a bet or something?
I will happily do a bet. Yes, I am more than willing to do a bet. I just stink at coming up with the
Stakes.
the wager. Yes.
All right, we'll have to think about that while the show goes on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chat, come up with some ideas.
But basically, it's you win if it's a hero,
Nexus hero
that is not within the. Wait, okay. Well, like, does that race car thing count? Like, the Lost Vikings count?
No, because
that's
like,
still in the universe.
That's a Blizzard property, so I can agree that those wouldn't count.
Oh shit! What about Destiny?
No, well,
No, you don't think they would do something like that?
No, I can't see it because they're only. That's an interesting point, though. It could be a Destiny character. That would be weird. I'm saying something wholly created within the Nexus, though.
Okay, so some new concept, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the Raven Lord or something, right? Is that where you're kind of
right?
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. But not the Raven Lord.
But no, because the
Or
Raven
would that
Lord is
count?
from the Raven Lord is in WoW.
Okay. Well, that's what I meant. Maybe like the spider
Okay,
fighting
I'm
from Tomb of the
90%
Spike,
sure,
or
right?
something that's more like just made,
Yeah.
created
Just
for
Nexus. Yeah.
Okay.
Nexus.
All
It
right.
hasn't
So
appeared.
that if that happens, you win, and then I win if it's like
Anything else?
anything
Anything
else.
else?
I was gonna go with co-op brawl or a PvE brawl or something. I was gonna like hold my feet to the fire here.
No, anything else? Because I'm intent that it's going to be a Nexus focused here, like something born of the Nexus
Wow.
will be our next hero. So
If I was making
I'll take
Vegas,
that.
if I was making Vegas odds here, LiQuiD, I
my
definitely-
odds are way long.
you
I
would
know
not,
they
you would
are.
not be the favorite. So we'll see if chat can come up with some sort of stakes here as we move along to Fenix needs a tune-up.
Tune down.
Well, a tune-up like a
wanna throw that out
car. It's not like it needs to be buffed. It's a tune-up like a car. That's the analogy I was
right.
going for here.
I know.
A lot of people were expecting, because we've gotten to this like weekly patch cycle, it's actually slowly kind of dissipating, but we were expecting Fenix to get a bit of a nerf today or yesterday even, but we didn't. Fenix is still very strong. I can't seem to get him in an unranked match at all because everyone just bans him straight out. So there's obviously a problem here. He's overtuned. He needs to be addressed. Now the question is, how should we go about doing that? What do we think Blizzard's going to do to make Fenix come back down, get a tune down, as LiQuiD likes to put it?
So if I remember correctly, Fenix is allowed this weekend, or is it next weekend?
In HGC?
In HGC. That's when that's going to be when they tune him down.
Because everyone's going to be banning him.
Right.
And it's like
and they're
right
going to say,
out
the pros won't even do it. Oh, yeah, we need to tune him down.
Yeah.
But until then, no.
Well, anytime they have a 60% win rate hero, like, you have to do something to address that.
Well, what happened with Zarya? Like, wasn't that in a roller coaster of emotion
Yes.
that she went up and down? And so I think after that experience, they're a lot more shy and wanting to
Absolutely.
get the data and be like, okay, how can we properly tweak this and not have it be a roller coaster of every 3 days we're going to go up and down?
Well, and then I think the important add on to that is that they also want to see what happens at pro level before they do anything, specifically here, because if you tweak it once, which we can do, but you tweak it for the current existing data that they have, and you only tweak it a little bit, or you over tweak it so the pros don't even want to play with him now because you've over nerfed him, like, it doesn't accomplish your goal of having your new hero. Your new hero should be involved in the games, so they need to have pro level data and regular people data before they go in and nerf her. The non-pro players out there, right? I mean, like, let's be honest. Rich is gonna do something with Fenix that nobody thought of.
If they let him have it.
Right, if they let him have it, right? But there's other people out there in the same situation where they'll get to play with Fenix and they will play in a way that nobody else thinks of or does, right? And you really have to have that pro level data before you can decide on how you're going to nerf it. in my opinion. But you know me, I'm so focused on HGC that's like naturally where my head goes.
And that's why I love talking on this show, because I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think you need.
I could see you there. You were like,
No,
he doesn't know what he's
no.
talking about. This is
Yeah,
bullshit."
if you're watching the
Is that what you're
video,
trying to say that?
yeah, you can see my expressions there going forward. But I mean, there's a point where, like, do you need that HGC data? Like, he's a problem in the game. He's too strong. Like, you don't have to like completely rework him. You don't have to change even his cooldowns or anything. You can just give him a slight tune down. Like the one suggestion I thought of was just giving him a health nerf. Take down his health 10%. Like, it doesn't even have to be like a huge tune or like a huge change to how he works. Just, you know, give him a slight little pat on the head and just push him down a little bit, you know?
Let me ask you a question. So we all look at the HOTS logs or any one of the I can't remember what the other
HOTS
API uploader is. Yeah, HOTS API sites. But we've always known that data isn't 100%.
But Blizzard said that it's fair. I mean, and
it's close.
It's relatively. And you'll know. You know, like if it was,
right.
if Phoenix was 52%, it's like, okay, maybe he's 55, maybe he's 50, who knows?
Right.
But if he's showing it like 60% and everyone's banning him all the time, there's a perception issue. Like Garrosh had that problem too, where everyone was banning him for the longest time, and they addressed that, even though his win rate was, I think at the time, even below 50%, because it just was leading to that kind of like unhealthy game environment.
Right. Well, one other point I want to make, and Dastin TV said this in chat. It was the Easter holiday and PAX. And if I remember back, there was a point where something else was broken. Oh, something was broken over New Year's Eve. Or near New Year's, near the end of the year. And Blizzard didn't patch it until after the New Year. And everybody's like, well, you have to let it go. It's the end of the year. They're on vacation, you know, after New Year's, blah, 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 blah.
Didn't they drop a patch like the day before BlizzCon, though? This year?
Yeah, but that's BlizzCon. I mean,
I'm pretty sure they have tournaments. So that wouldn't matter.
Hyperion. There you go. Remember when Hyperion was broken?
That was bugged for a while, but yeah, I think that was.
It actually made him viable.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you pick the right talent, yeah.
That makes him viable. Okay.
The Rainer that ruined Christmas.
Thanks, Kisso, for that. Always put it in the great comments in chat. Moving on to the next topic, we've got Brightwing's BFF.
I have to make a correction right off the start.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I am Brightwing.
Well, yeah, I was talking about me.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Well, excuse me. I apologize. I didn't realize this.
We're big fans of the work you do in the Nexus. So we figured, you know, who better to talk to than Brightwing about the proper Brightwing strategy. So the Brightwing BFFs came out in full force today, myself and LiQuid. So naturally, we're going to start by talking to Royalite about Brightwing and what you think about how Brightwing fits into the meta as it currently stands.
How do you fit into the meta?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Well, I'm really surprised. I'm by no means a phenomenal or great Heroes player, but I'm really surprised how much I do see her, because she is considered, even in her description, that she's a harder to play or difficulty, that she's not, you know, your Lily that you can hold Q and heal and keep everyone up.
Lily is just fine.
No, I'm not
anyway.
saying, but like in the description, it literally says
right.
hard, you know,
yeah.
And I kind of expected that people wouldn't be playing her because she isn't, you know, a huge saver like your Uther or, you know, anyway, I thought she would be a lot lower based on her numbers right now, but I'm seeing a lot of her and a lot of people enjoy playing her. And I think I think I'm the best healer in the game. But yeah, unfortunately, like in the pro level, she's not a primary healer because, you know, I struggle with burst. So, you know, I heard LiQuiud, you don't like the Z build.
I am not necessarily against. I am. I hate the Z build so much.
Yeah. When it was great until they nerfed it. And now
Yes.
the shield that you do when you phase shift to someone is less than a Zarya shield.
Yeah, no, and that's just not right. That's always annoyed me. Like why? It's almost like, okay, we're gonna take a core mechanic and let another hero have that core mechanic, and then we're gonna nerf yours so that you're not as good as that other hero because we want to see that other hero play. And it's like, no, the shield needs to be that strong, but it never is.
I mean, when you phase shift to put a shield on someone, you're doing it to, help them or save them. You're now in a bad position.
Right.
You phase shift into, and you can't always control where you're phase shifting in. Like that person that you're coming to in Hero League is like, oh, I'm going to run straight into 4 people. And you think, okay, they're kind of on the outside. They're going to get picked off. I'll come in and save them. And no, they're running right into danger. So it's just, it needs to be, if that, I just want a bigger shield basically. But because of that, and again, I play at the lower levels, I love bribe. And
yes,
if you go bribe, you can't get the reduction on healing, so you can phase shift more often. And so when you go the Z build and you have bribe, you're not able to put out as many shields or heal properly. So, and the reason I go bribe is because at my level, people don't know when to get camps.
True story.
Valeska Foundry, am I saying that right? Valeska Industries. Vizcaya, thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, what I do is I go bribe. Everyone does a little skirmish in the middle, and then they split to soak lanes. I am able to get just the 2 stacks that I need to go pick up a gun. So now I have a gun for when my guys are fighting over the point.
Right.
My guys aren't going to go and think, hey, I'm going to get that gun. And if I was a healer and I want that gun, I'm not going to be able to get that gun very quickly. But if I have bribe, I now have the gun. And what generally happens is as we're fighting on the point, we win the point because we have the advantage of the gun. And what happens is that the other team, they die, they reset their health, they come back full health, and you're like at half health or half mana or whatever. You're not in the ideal situation. Well, now I have another set of 2 stacks. I go over and I get the enemy gun, and I come back with that gun. So when they come back full health and full mana, we're ready with another gun to take them on, and generally I win the first point. I love that map. I have such a high win rate on that map just from doing that.
I love that map too, but for the same reason, but a slightly different reason. I go Sonya, and I always invade their camp first and then take ours the second time. And it's so much fun doing that to people because they come walking into the first point thinking they're going to fight for it. And they're like, oh, there's a gun and it's shooting me. Now what?
But yeah, I play Brightwing, and I can't, I need bribe in order to take camps. And so that's why I go bribe. And then I need to build around that. And I was just looking at my win rate in Hero League on Brightwing, and I think it's at like 75%, something really high like that. I lose my games because a lot of times people don't want me to play Brightwing, or they don't want they want me to go warrior. You got to fill. But when I am allowed to play Brightwing, I'm climbing up slowly, but I'm finally climbing the ladder a little bit. And a lot of my climb is due to Brightwing and properly timing capturing mark camps. So that's why I can't go Z-build. But I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, Z-build's meta. If you're not doing Z-build, you're not a proper Brightwing. Well, fine. I'm not a proper meta Brightwing.
If you're not master or grandmaster, the meta doesn't matter anyway. Like every rank has its own meta, and like the meta below platinum is, can you play it well? Chances are you're gonna win if nobody tilts. Like that's literally what it comes down to.
And
Can I keep my team from tilting?
Also, too many people check hot slogs and look at the proper builds, which aren't necessarily the right build in certain situations. And there's players that can get more value out of quote unquote suboptimal builds. And it drives me crazy when people tilt over one talent choice because they're convinced that it's the right way to play because hot slog says that talent has got a 60% win rate, so that's the only talent you should be taking on this tier.
Yeah.
Okay, move on to the next topic. We've got poor old Valla. Valla isn't as young as she used to be, not quite as spry. Young chaps, young whippersnappers like Hanzo have stumbled into the Nexus and have stolen her limelight. She's lost her place in the meta, even though she hasn't been touched, just on account of other heroes coming in and doing her job better or perceivably better. So the big question for today is, and what we're going to be talking about for the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds is, I guess, first off, is she still relevant? And second off, what would he do or what can be done to make her more relevant? Royalite, you want to start off with this one?
I just think she needs a health buff. I also think it's really interesting that the devs quite a while ago, a couple of months ago, maybe even a year ago, talked about how much they loved Valla, that she was their ideal balance of a hero because you could go different builds on her, you could take her and adjust to how the game is going, that she was like their model of how they want all the other heroes to be. And I just think that looking at that and you see Hanzo and how he has just like gone way over to the extreme. You know, he has the mobility, the range, the wave clear. You know, it's kind of like, what doesn't he have? And why would you take Valla when you can get a Hanzo? I mean, even the stun. The stun is better. You know, you have a short range on Valla's stun. Well, you can, you know, go quite the distance with Hanzo's.
Right.
All the way across the map, even.
Exactly.
So Schizo in chat mentioned what I've actually had in the show notes, but I'll give credit to Schizo here. What about 2 charges of Vault? Because if we've got mobility creep, why don't we just go with it? Give her some more mobility. Give her the opportunity to vault in, vault out, double vault in, get that extended range. Maybe even get her some reset ability on the vault. I don't know. Is this something that we'd be willing to go?
She does. Oh, she doesn't have a reset on.
She gets a reset on her Q.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
But she can't get. That's if she does the vault, it resets her Q. But she doesn't have any way to get 2 vaults sequentially.
The problem is Hanzo does her job better now. So you really have to change. You have to change something about her. I don't know that health or even the 2 charges of vault is enough. I think Lord Boo's actually right. She needs to be able to do more damage than she does. So she'll never be able to do across the map CC the way you see Hanzo do it. She should never be as mobile as Hanzo or even Genji, but she should be able to do more damage than she currently does. So I think if you actually tweak her numbers up a little bit, including her health, she would be in a much better position.
So you think it's a numbers issue over like a kit issue?
Yeah, I think her kit itself is fine. If you could deliver the numbers, and we weren't in the, so there's 2 problems right now with Valla, at least specifically in like HGC. She's a straight up auto attack healer, which we don't see a ton of right now. So while the meta is not on top of auto attackers as much, that'll be a struggle. But the bigger struggle is going to be her numbers just don't perform. You know what? Schizo just said it better for me. Power creep just crept past her. You know, that's kind of what it came on to. Now, Sand has a good possible solution. Maybe she gets to hold her hatred stacks longer so that you don't have to auto as frequently to stay at 10 stacks. Or maybe they change the way hatred works where they make it, you know, like a quested talent. So once you get 40 stacks of hatred, you get 5% increased damage forever. And then once you get 80 stacks of hatred, you get 10% increased damage forever. Like something like that would also be a way to kind of tweak it. But her power is just too low for what it is right now.
What do you think about increasing her range?
So that's tricky. I kind of like that idea, but at the same time, then you're competing with Raynor, right? Like Raynor is supposed to be the range master.
That's kind of gone in the way of the dodo though,
Yeah,
since
I know.
Hanzo.
No, it
came
kind of
out.
has too, right?
I
So,
love
like-
that they changed his tooltip to say has a larger attack range than most heroes.
Right.
Clever.
So like that's annoying too.
Job's done.
I think she can be fixed without a kit rework, I guess is the short answer for what I was trying to say though.
Moving on to a lighter-hearted topic, April Fools. It's such a great
I was
day
so sad this year.
on the internet when April
I
Fools
was
rolls
bummed
around.
too.
But everyone was bummed because we didn't see anything HOTS related from Blizzard. You see things from Google, from different internet-centric companies, but we were kind of hoping that Blizzard would start doing their April Fools things again because they've done them in the past. In 2014 and 2015 before
Well,
go ahead.
I think Blizzard did their own, but
Always.
Heroes didn't do ones, right?
Right.
This is true.
Blizzard
yes.
doesn't miss, right? Like
Yeah.
Blizzard almost always has one, at least one.
Sorry, I guess when I was saying this, I'm thinking from like the heroes side of it. We want to see more
Right.
Yeah.
heroes,
Right.
April Fool's stuff, because me being in my heroes bubble, I don't get exposed to much of the stuff on the outside. I know they did their WoW related one this year, but we haven't seen a hero centric one since 2016. In 2014, we had Pajamather as a new hero that was going to be coming out. They had like a spotlight video and everything for it, which is kind of cool to look back on. He ended up becoming an Abathur skin later on. We had 2015, we had Big Head mode, which I wish
Coolest thing ever.
Yes.
I
They could just do that every year. That's all. Every April Fool's, just do big head mode. I
Code's
will not
already
complain.
there.
I promise.
like LiQuiuD says, the code's already there, but Royalite, you're saying before, like, well, Alex Straza might break that when she's in Dragon
Oh,
form. Big head
yeah.
Alex Straza.
That would be kind of amazing. I kind of want to see that. That
I
would be kind
know.
of cool.
But they were already saying that her size was so large that they were having trouble with the engine.
The
You know,
texture
dealing with
budget
her,
or
and she
whatever.
was she was
Yeah.
pushing the limitations of what the engine could do. So yeah, I'm sure big head mode would just like blow it all up.
Computers exploding everywhere. Just
Yes.
lawsuits galore. Sorry, Big Head mode. You might have had your day in the limelight already. 2016, they had Nexus Lane View, where you could kind of go in like a Google Maps style onto Dragonshire, and you could drag the Murky onto it just like you can in Street View.
Did
Plop
you
Murky
guys
down
try
on-
that?
I did. I tried it today because I was like, oh, I gotta recap all this stuff before I talk about it on the show.
Did you put the like the Google Cardboard, like where you put the phone up to your face, like glasses?
No, you can do it you can Google Cardboard it. It's really cool.
Yeah, and then you like turn around and it's like you're on the map.
Yeah. And it's bizarre. It's
It's-
awesome.
You see details there and you're like, wow, they did a lot of work on this map. But when you're
Yeah.
like playing and doing all the, I gotta win, you don't see all these details that they put, like
The,
spaces and stuff.
Yes, the people. That's what I was gonna say. The people sitting in the stands watching.
Yeah.
Amazing looking.
It's amazing the detail they put in not just Dragonshire but all maps too. And you can take those 30 seconds pre-game and look around and take some things in on maps. Like there's amazing things on all the maps, like even like Warhead Junction. You've got like the things happening all around, as well as like what you're typically exposed to in lane and everything. And I feel like these are a lot of things that we miss and we don't appreciate as much as we probably should the level of detail that Blizzard goes into on their maps.
Yeah, we're too busy killing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
Too
all right.
busy murdering each other.
That's what Brightwing loves to do best, right?
Yep.
Good at murder.
Yes. Exactly.
2017, 2018, last 2 years. Blizzard hasn't done any Heroes related stuff, but there's a YouTuber called Punishment Sin who's kind of taken up the ropes, and he actually got me last year. I think I might have accidentally thought this was a real hero thing.
You did.
You
did.
He did a good job.
He did. And what just so everyone knows what he did is he did like an in development video, and the hero was Talendar, so it's aka Fenix, I guess. And there were a Ravager Chromie skin. We had Talendar could like put up a big like Winston style shield from Overwatch around him. There were some
And Planet Cracker.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
I was saying a lot of the talents that they came up with were actually like the same name terminology as what Phoenix ended up getting, which is kind of interesting for us. So there, I guess he's taking the kit from StarCraft, so it's maybe not too much of a stretch. But then they got into mounts where like there were invisible mounts and stuff, and you could kind of know as you went on this is an April Fool's joke. But that being
Not the invisible horse.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
We got,
I
if
was
you look at what he got, we actually got a lot of the things that he April Fools.
but we don't have 10 versus 1 mode, which is
Well,
one of the other
maybe
things.
Not have
it
that.
might be coming.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
That could be tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe kind of weird, but this was an April Fool's and you were fooled, but now
done.
a couple months later you're not fooled for believing it's true because it's not going to be true.
It's the long con, April Fool's
Yeah.
joke. And now we're out of time for this, but the Punishment Sin also did one this year too, so you can check that out. It's not as much of a like I gotcha, it's April Fool's type thing, but it's a cool little video that he did called The True Nexus. So you can check that out on Punishment Sin's YouTube channel. We're going to talk about like things we'd like to see as April Fool's jokes. We ended up talking so much about all that other stuff, but that's okay. I mean, we said how much we love big head mode and everything, which is something we want to talk about. So last topic, we've got an interesting one, and one I've actually kind of wanted to talk about for a while is, has HOTS peaked as a game? We're a few years into the game now. It's by no means a new game anymore. HGC is falling into regular rhythm. Last year was the first consistent year, but now we've got year 2. It doesn't feel like a new shiny esport. We're long past Heroes 2.0, so we're at the point now where the game has settled somewhat into what the long scheme of things it's been envisioned as. So the big question is, and it's been a concern for a lot of people, is okay, the viewership numbers, that we know that the player base isn't as big as other Blizzard properties like Overwatch or Hearthstone. Is it ever going to get there, or has Heroes just kind of peaked? Are we okay with that? Is that a problem? Or is this just a place that we're happy being, or what's the future going to bring? So, Royal, let's pass it to you first. I'm sure LiQuiud's got a lot of things to say on the topic as well, but what do you think? Has HOTS peaked?
I don't think so. I think there are a lot of things to be addressed. I mean, first of all, I think any company would be thrilled with a game having the size of Heroes. Now, Heroes of the Storm isn't the size in comparison to their other games like Overwatch or Hearthstone or World of Warcraft, but it's still, a respectable size. But I think the huge thing holding it back from growth is the engine. And, the developers all the time have talked about how, they're pushing the limits of the engine, how they're constrained by the engine, how they want to do more things. But this engine, anyone who knows from the very beginning, this was just a fun side project that they did at a BlizzCon. And people were like, oh, this is so great, let's turn it into a game. Well, they still use the old StarCraft engine, and it's like the reconnect system. I mean, when you play the game, there's just so many quality of life things that I think are still holding it back. And I think things like the matchmaking and everything else, I think that will all improve a lot better when there's more people playing the game to be matched against. So, I just feel like it hasn't peaked, but there are things holding it back. The way they did the launch held it back. They shouldn't have made it casual League of Legends. They shouldn't have marketed it like that. That immediately like turned so many people off.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, this game has no depth, it has no strategy, it's just point and click, and you know, it's dumb. And I think that, you know, as people come in and play, because you do have low players that come in, they're like, oh my god, this game's so fun. You know, it has all the fun stuff. But yeah, I think they just need to give it a new engine. I don't think it's possible at this point, but that's my idea.
I think it's possible. I think if you look at, I don't remember what it was, but at one point, World of Warcraft did a file reorganization, we'll call it, where they used to do the installer used to lay all the WoW files down one way, and then they completely revamped that system and completely changed it. And it was between one of the two major content patches. I just don't remember when it was. I think between Lich King and Cataclysm, but it might have been Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria. And they didn't replace the whole engine, but they completely redid how WoW worked on your computer with a patch. So I think it would be possible to replace the entire game engine, but it's not an easy task, right? I don't want to make it sound like it's a simple thing to do, but it's possible, and they could do it if they felt that it was needed enough. And I think the reconnect system alone is one of the things that definitely means it's needed. Let alone we know we're at the limit of this engine. Let's at least fix the reconnect system.
Okay, so
if nothing else.
If they did fix all these quality of life changes, my argument is it's too little too late to make it that like overnight success. You can't rewind the clock. If these changes were in place when the game was launched, maybe the game was marketed a bit differently, then maybe you would have had a larger player base now. But it's difficult to come with a game that's been around for so long and attract this large player base. They tried doing it with Heroes 2.0 and was successful to a degree. Done. I mean, I'm sure it did expand the player base quite a bit, but there's only so many times you can pull out that trick before it no longer becomes the new shiny thing to do. You can't just do Heroes 3.0 with Heroes 4.0 and expect the same kind of people coming back to the game like you did at Heroes 2.0.
Yeah, and I think they should have saved Heroes 2.0 for when they actually had a Heroes 2.0. I think that just doing this redesign, having all these new heroes and saying Heroes 2.0, no, when I heard Heroes 2.0, I was like, okay, maybe they really did some deep fundamental changes to the engine, updates to the engine. And when it wasn't, I was like, okay, we're not going to bring in all the people that we would like to bring in.
Right. I agree.
But at the end of the day, there is a vibrant community around Heroes of the Storm. It's a great community. There's enough players that you're not sitting there in Matchmaker for hours trying to get a match. I mean, I have rarely come across queues longer than a couple minutes. I mean, maybe if you're higher level, like Hero League Master, Grandmaster, that might be more of an issue. But like I'm comfortable with the size of the player base. I don't think that it necessarily even has to grow to be a success. Like you were saying too, Royalite, like most companies would be happy having a game that is as successful as Heroes of the Storm, especially 4 years in. Like that's past the life cycle of a lot of expected like A-list games. All right, and that is the final topic for the show. And normally we go into a Mystic shakedown now, but it's kind of hard to do when there's no Mystic around.
That does make it a little more difficult.
Mystic will be coming back next week. As I mentioned before off the top, we are going to be changing the scheduled time of our show to Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As of next week, we've actually got Heku on as our guest for next week, so that should be kind of fun. But before we round off the show, I want to thank a couple people, most notably our chieftain, Super Dave, for pledging his support to the Trolls. If you'd like to become a chieftain of the show like Super Dave, you can head over to patreon.com/trollsgg and pledge above the level that gets you the credit at the end of both this and Troll and HGC shows. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Nexus Trolls, the Heroes of the Storm podcast, which we stream live on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Royalite, this has been a blast. Thanks so much for coming on the show and having a great time with us. So if people wanted to have a great time following what you do on the internet, where could they find you?
Twitter at Royalite, and I love to follow back. I love to interact. I love talking about Brightwing and Heroes of the Storm, jokes, news, what have you. So definitely give me a follow, and I'll see you there.
Yes. Don't follow me or LiQuid. If you're going to follow one person of the three of us, make sure it's Royalite. You'll get the biggest bang for your buck out of that follow
Absolutely.
button.
And I do want to say thank you for having me here. It's been a blast. I'm sorry for running over the time, but it's been a real joy, and I could go on for hours with you guys.
Running over the time is what we do best here, Royalite. So this is par for the
True
course.
story. True story.
So, LiQuid, where can people find you?
The best place to find me is on Twitter at LiQuidGG. I usually tweet whenever I'm going to do anything. That's at LiQuidGG, LiQiuDGG.
And if you're looking for someone a little less active on Twitter than these two, you can follow me at DazHots, DazHots. You can also subscribe to our show if you like it on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to find your podcasts online. You can visit our website, trolls.gg/TheNexusTrolls, to watch this and past shows, along with past video streams, which can also be found on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TrollsGG. For announcements about the show and general Heroes of the Storm news, you can follow us on Twitter at TrollsGG or at TheNexusTrolls. And finally, if you want to hang out with us in the Trolls community in-game, you can /join /TrollsGG, one word with no dots, in-game, or join our Discord channel, trolls.gg/Discord, to find out more information for joining our Discord server there. Always have great conversations on that Discord server. And finally, if you want to get in touch with us, the best way is by email at TheNexusTrolls@TrollsGG. LiQuid and Royalite, thanks again for being on the show with me today. Everybody, thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
'Cause I'm TNT, I'm dynamite. TNT.